Hi, I'm AJ Hope, the director of Effortless English, and welcome to the free 7 rules email course. Today is rule 1. Now rule 1 is learn English phrase, not individual words. This one, just like all the other rules, is very simple, very easy, and like the other rules. This rule is very powerful. So simple, so powerful. What is the rules? The rules the rules is always learn phrase, not individual words. So simple. So a phrase is a group of words. It's not. You can have a whole sentence, but it is just a is even a part of a sentence. So, for example, let's say you have the word hate, H-A-T-E, hate, and you want to learn this new word. You can, just write down the word hate, and then you will find in your dictionary the meaning of the meaning, and then you will memorize it. Hate. That the old way, that the kind of textbook way, that the kind of textbook way, the school way, right? In school, you probably remembered a lot of individual words. You you had those big vocabulary lists. You tried to memorize all of them. Trying to remember all these individual single words is not a good way to learn. Much better if you learn a phrase, a group of words. And where do you find this phrase? You find this phrase in the real English podcast that you're listening to, in the real English storybooks that you are reading. So you don't memorize a list in a book. No. You listen to real English, and when you hear a new word, you write it down. Or when you're reading a storybook and you see a new word, you write it down. But do not just write down that word. You want to write down the whole phrase or sentence that is in all of it. So instead of saying hate and you just write down hate, you would write down John hates ice cream. You write down the whole phrase. Why do we do this? What the power of phrase? Well, phrase give you a lot of information, much more information. Number one, phrase are easier to remember because they have meaning. They have a kind of a picture, a story, especially when you get them from something that you're reading or learning to. You remember it. John hates ice cream. You remember the whole story. You remember who John is. You remember that he had ice cream, and then you remember he hated. He didn't like it, right? So you have all this extra piece of information. All this extra information have you remember the meaning of phrase and the meaning of that word. So it has your memory much easier to remember. Number two, there is a bonus. When you learn phrase, you are learning grammar also. You are not only learning an individual words. You are learning grammar. You're learning how to use that word correctly. You don't need to think about the grammar. You don't need to know the rules. It's automatic. This is another way that native speakers learn English grammar. Because when we were children, we learn with face. We learn group of words, not just one word by one word by one word. Word by word is slow and it doesn't help, and you don't learn any grammar. But when you learn a whole phrase, you write down the phrase, you are getting extra information. Maybe you don't know it, but you are. For example, John hates ice cream. Just that word. Just S on the end. Hates. Right? John hates. Well, you know from grammar study that you are making a subject and the verb agree. You don't need a thing about that. You don't need to think about that. You just write down the phrase don't hate ice cream and study it and review it. Always learn the phrase, not just that word. And so in the future, whenever you say they hate ice cream, she hates ice cream, you will add the s, the s, right? Because that's how you learn it. You learn it correctly and you learn it from a phrase. On the other hand, if you learn it from a textbook, you just learn the word hate mean does not like, and you only learn that from hate, and you study, you memorize it. That is when you start making mistake, because you learn it only this one way. You didn't learn it with other words. So sometimes you will say he had ice cream. You'll forget the s because you never learn it correctly in a sentence in a phrase. So this is a very simple rule. Our last rule in the course. Very important. Every time you find a new word, always write the phrase or sentence. When you review that word again, when you study it again, always study the entire phrase or sentence. Never study that just the word. Always the whole phrase. Do this every time. Your grammar will begin to improve. It will improve much faster, and you will remember the vocabulary faster and more easily, and you will use that vocabulary more quickly. So you get a lot of great benefit, and a lot of great stuff happen when you learn phrase instead of words. So phrase. Learn them. I hope you enjoyed the rule number 1. Use this rule. Now your homework is to get a little phrase notebook. So when you find new English vocabulary in the lesson, in something you are listening to, in a book, in an article, write down the phrase, not just one word. Write down the entire whole phrase that you find, and then review that phrase again each day, and you will create a notebook full of phrase, full of sentence, not individual words, never an individual words. Word. Okay, so that's rule. That's rule 1. Tomorrow you will get another email with the rule number 2. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.